Alright guys, my dad wanted me to make a video teach him how to snare. And I didn't think it was right for an old man who sends traps for a living to not show him how to do it. So since we're doing it, he lives clear 5 hours away. I figured YouTube's the best way to do it. So we're going to teach you and my old man how to snare. Snaring is probably the easiest way to catch a coyote for a beginner. All you need to do is find a trail with coyote tracks in it, hang a couple loops in it. I guarantee within 3 to 4 weeks you're going to have a coyote. It's just, if there's anything as certain as catching something, coyote wise or canine wise, a snare is the way to go because there's no scent. All you got to do is walk through it. So the hardest part of snaring, and it's going to sound funny when I say this, is believing the snares will actually work. You following me? Most people, myself included, it took 3 years of snaring before I even really started getting any confidence in them. And I moved out to the west. We don't have any trees like I did in Nebraska, so using snares out in the open on cattle trails, I thought there's no way that'll work. But I started using them, started adjusting, and found out it's a very effective method. For starters, I use these supports that I make up. A disposable of your choice. Doesn't matter if it's a pogo, super stake. Right here I'm using the woof thing. A fender washer, 2 ferrules swedged, and a single piece of wire coming out the top. Guys are always asking me how long they are. This looks to be about 10 inches, which is more than adequate in our soil. From here, from the bottom of that to this is 18 inches. And this is 16 to 18, depending on where the wire gets cut. So, this is your all-in-one unit. It's your anchor, your snare support, and everything. You don't have to carry around rebar, number 9 wire, and all this crazy junk. You just got your support. For snares, or cable restraints, if you got to use cable restraints around animals or livestock or state laws, I always use an adjustable loop in. Okay, an adjustable loop in is nothing more than a ferrule slid over the cable with the stop wedged on so the loop can be adjusted. Okay, so you can slide your snare through it, cinch it around a tree, hook this to a fence post. In our case, our earth anchor snare support system. I trademarked these, the ultimate snare support system. I got it on YouTube, so rights reserved if anybody wants to do that. Just kidding. I always hook these on here before I drive them, and that just helps hold that number 9 washer up when you're driving it. So, real simple. Find out where you want this to hit the trail, okay? And while I'm talking here, we're going to go, that's a nice cover to get rid of it. So we want this on this centered about right on the edge of the trail so the loop goes out and around it. So we're going to go like so, where we want it. We're going to use our slide hammer and driver. I'll talk about that on another video because the ground is hard out here. You can't, oh, I say that, and this one pushes right in until you hit the frozen stuff. Okay. Man, I wish the L went in that easy. That would be spoiling me. Alrighty, so we got the anchor in and the support. We need some camouflage. Camouflage is, it helps get that lock out of their face. So, you don't need much. I found that whatever this noxious weed is, works wonderful for camouflage. A lot of guys use a single piece of number 9 wire and they put it right here along the trail. and they hang their snare off of it. And that doesn't work very well for me because the animals see that thing along the trail and they start getting squirrely around it. Once you get that support a couple feet off the trail, I'll kind of show you my evolution in snare supports in another video. But this is what I do for now. It works. Once you get this off the trail and you get this up high so there's nothing on the trail or just walking through a path, you can get away with snaring in a very, very open area. And I'll try and get some videos of catches in the wide open and you can see what I'm talking about there. But we're just trying to teach you and Dad how go about snaring. So I take this and I put it over the wire. And then I figure out where this is going to stop, okay? Like so. And then I hold this. And I hold this. And I just start wrapping. Wrap. And I wrap. And then I stick this in that wrap. And then I start wrapping some more. And wrapping some more. Until this hoopty of a grass is covered up, or is wrapped up by the snare support and solid. And I take my whammy and I put it on like so. Then I can cinch this down, and that coyotes ain't going to jump over that very often. It can happen. They'll generally go around. If they generally go around your anchored side. So once your anchor is not here, they don't have another reason to go around. They'll just go through. Not saying you don't get some refusals. It's just part of it. And then the loop, I'll have to take the camera off the stand. I push the whammy further past the number 9 wire. Most guys just go on the end. And the reason I do that, we got so much wind that I have that whammy pinching against the top of the lock to hold it in place so I don't got so many knockdowns from the wind. So that's pushed in there. And that's pretty much it. I don't get too shook up about loop size. I'm going to measure this one. That's kind of what I'm going for right there. That look and that size and that shape and everything. So I'll measure it so I can tell guys. This is going to keep their head down. This is off the trail. So they don't have any reason to avoid it. We're going to spruce up this area here, make it look taller, get them pushed in, and that's a snare. Like I said, most important thing about killing coyotes with snares is having the confidence they work. This is my system, my anchor, my complete system. So that's that. I had a lot better video before my battery ran out on my lapel microphone that I'm just using. We're going to take this off and I'm going to go show you what it looks like. Okay, there it is. See how that gets that lock out of their face? And see how I wedge this lock against the whammy? That keeps that wind from blowing it down. That's snaring. That's how I snare. I snare a lot of critters, so don't overthink it. Give it a try. Dad, I really hope this answers your questions and shows you how easy snaring is. I mean, you try to explain something over the phone and it's just easier to do a video. So hope you all enjoyed it, and happy President's Day. One more thing I'm going to add. Everybody asks me all these technical questions about height. I don't get too shook up about height because sometimes the animal's walking with his nose on the ground. Sometimes he's walking with his head up high. You ever followed a bird dog? There's certain situations where I've heard it described in thick cover, they'll push through it with their head. It's not the case every time. times where he's saying out in the open he's going to have his head up. Well, I've watched coyotes with their nose to the ground in the wide open mousing around, so I don't get too shook up because the animal does not have a set amount of parameters that he holds his head in any situation. You might have heard a rooster cackle over here, and he's got his head up looking at the rooster. Or there might be a mouse in this tuft of grass that he's sniffing out, so he might have his head held down. That's one thing about snaring. The thing you're trying to catch, their head can move up and down. Generally, I just kind of eyeball it just because of that up and downness. I don't get too technical with it because it can change. But this snare right here, you look at this, it is 12 inches off the ground and 24 inches tall. So I'm using a 12-inch snare, 12 inches off the ground. I will say that in a real open spot, I'll use a bigger loop to get that lock out of their face a little bit more if I didn't have any cover on the side. I'd still use this cover, but I'd use like a 16-inch loop and probably put it 14 inches off the ground. So it gets it a little bit more open feeling, but generally I think they're just going to wander through, blunder into it, and catch them. Like I said, I'll do some video work if coyotes getting caught out in the open and snares, and it'll really help your confidence just like it did me when you're trying to catch them out in the open in a snare. So it's getting dark. I'm going to go eat some supper. Sorry if this sounded rushed. It's getting dark and I'm running out of time. So happy President's Day again, and God bless.